Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno, the founder of Real Men Real Style, and today we're going to be talking about how do you treat other people with respect at social events. Okay, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. By doing this, these videos will come right to you. In addition, if you like this, if you find this video useful, go ahead and click on the like down below. And if you want to learn more about what I'm talking about and pick up our free ebook on men's style, go ahead and grab that. The link's right down there. Okay, so the question that came in is, how do I treat others with respect at a social event? And this came from a gentleman. He's a bit of an introvert, and it's hard for him to talk to other people, but he's finding that he's getting invited to more and more of these Christmas parties and things in which he's having to step up and, represent his family, and he's going with his wife, and he's just wanting to, present himself better. And he's got the clothing down. He's been watching the videos, but how do I talk with these people? So I've got 5 things that you should be thinking about when you're at a social event, and, you follow these, you'll be in good shape. Number 1, introduce yourself. So don't wait. Don't just, a lot of people have gotten really away from this. It used to be that if you're having a conversation and you see somebody come up to join, and if you're not sure that they know each other, you introduce them. Most people don't even think to do this. So you really can't wait to be introduced. Maybe give it a couple seconds, but once you're kind of acknowledged as you're joining the conversation, and if you don't know one of the people present, or you think it's been a while and maybe they didn't remember who you were, be polite and introduce yourself and give your name. Always give your name and, to both parties so that people remember, and, hopefully they're going to say it so that they remember your name, and make sure you get their name and that you remember it. And that's the second thing. Remember names. Now, this is really hard for people, and probably I'm bad at it myself. I always forget names. And the trick that I use is I always try to associate it with something. So if they tell me their name is Sydney, then I think, okay, Sydney, Australia. And I think somehow I associate them with Australia. Or they tell me their name is, Rebecca. Then I think that, okay, Rebecca, that's a good friend of mine, his wife, so I, somehow associate that. And I also try to say it. I maybe even ask them, oh, do you go by Becca, or do you have a nickname? And so we spend a little bit of time talking about their name, maybe just a couple seconds, but it helps me form that association. And sometimes I don't even listen to what they're almost saying to me. I'm trying to say their name again and again, make that association. And the first few times you respond to them, say their name. Memory isn't just about what's up here. It's about what rolls off our lips and the physical process of actually saying the name a few times. And people love hearing their name. So don't worry, it's not going to be a bad thing. And you may actually be helping other people in the conversation if they've forgotten that Rebecca's name is Rebecca, but she likes to go by Becca. That's her, her fun, what she likes to be called. The third thing, listen. Okay, so think about it. You've got 2 eyes, you've got 2 ears, and you've got 1 mouth. Therefore, you should be listening and observing probably 4 times as much as you should be talking. If you find that you're carrying the conversation, you need to pull back, because people, they get bored real easy. I mean, you could talk all day about your business. I know I can. You get me talking about Real Men Real Style in a tailored suit. I mean, set aside a couple hours, because I can talk all day about my companies. But you know what? Most people find it boring. Unless someone's really engaging you and it's a one-on-one and they keep coming in with good questions and you can tell that this is something they're almost taking notes on, you don't want to continue to talk. What you want to do is turn and ask questions about them. Really sincerely be curious about the other person, because oftentimes when we're talking with somebody, we're not listening. We're actually preparing to speak ourselves, and that you want to get away from that. Listen and really pay attention to that other person, because people really like it when other people pay attention to them. And if you're just meeting somebody for the first time, probably one of the best ways that you can get them to form a positive impression of you is actually for you to ask good questions about them and let them expand about, everything that's interesting in their lives, whether it be their children, whether it be their business, whether it be their preference for food. I mean, really take the time to get to know this individual and form a true relationship and a good bond. And, the other part is respecting what other people say, but not losing your dignity if they start going into gossip, if they start talking bad about somebody, if they take it down the religion or the political, slant. At that point, you can kind of lead a conversation by maybe changing the subject, by asking other questions and going back, kind of going back to the focus and being very polite about it, but saying, oh, but I was really interested about your business, or I was really interested in hearing more about your family. And, if they continue to go down that route, then this is the final thing. And this happens with all conversations. You need to excuse yourself. You need to step away from the conversation. Oftentimes there's other people you want to speak with, and, simply say, excuse me, perhaps you need to go get something to drink. Perhaps you're hungry. Perhaps you see someone you need to go talk with, but always be prepared to excuse yourself and to move on from the conversation. And always, when you're leaving, shake hands. If you're meeting somebody for the first time, repeat their name, and that is how you treat others with respect at a social event. So hopefully that helps the gentleman that wrote the question. And I know it's hard for many of us because we're introverts and we're not used to, talking with other people. It's actually hard for me a lot of times, but we just need to get out there and shake hands and smile and just ask some good questions. All right, this has been Antonio Centeno with Real Men, Real Style. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.